giddy up, yee-ho, it's timber. Good afternoon, hobbyists and enthusiasts. Now, when I put my hands on a router, I generally destroy things. Today, I will be building a stand to install this Triton router table onto. My intention is to use these four for the uprights, these from some pallets. I'll just have to go through and find some relatively straight ones. You'll appreciate some of my previous chisel work. So now that I've cut these off nice and square, I will cut in each one of these 150. That essentially is where it lines up with the top of my pallet floor. And then this end here, worked out quite nicely. I'm just about to prepare some cross beams, 560. 560. Don't forget, as always, to wear your safety equipment. That would be eye protection and hearing protection, and follow the safety rules on your saw. Alright, so I've just finished cutting those, and now I'm going to adjust the depth of this blade here. Alright, all the cutting's done. Now it's time to chisel me timbers with these on that. I've got 24 ends to do. Now that I've shuffled those around a bit and got the cross beams with the uprights in a fashion I'm happy with, they're all relatively lined up and square enough for my purposes. I need to mark each of these out and then remove the material so I've got somewhere to fix the front and back beams. Be essentially cutting out all the way through and out the other side. Alright, now just to chisel out those bits, I just pre-cut on the table saw. I need to route out some inlays into this so that I can slot the benches in. Now, if I had a router table, that would be a whole lot easier, but I won't have a router table until I've finished the router table. So normally what I would do is use one of these handheld routers. It makes a big mess, it's noisy and time consuming. So what I'm going to do is put this away, and I'm going to set up the table saw so I can do a neat cut, 2 neat cuts down each one, and the material I want to remove should just fall off nicely. I'm a lot happier with how that worked out. A lot quicker, a lot tidier. Now, instead of having a pile of dust everywhere and potentially poor lined cuts, all my shavings are compacted into these nice little offcuts of timber. And now I've got perfect lines, and next to no time are all my things ready, routed, or not routed, cut with the table saw. So this is one of the things I'm enjoying about this journey, is that not only are there many ways to do something, there's many better ways to do something. So now that I've got all these nicely cut down to size, I'm going to assemble the framework for the router table. Before I pulled them all apart, I did put some numbers on them. So that means I can put stuff back where they started. So now I'm going to quickly drill some holes and screw these together. There's the frame. And now we just got to put some planks in these two lower shelves. So I've got a lot of this cheap pine. For anything nicer, I would run it through the thicknesser and rip the edges off to make it square. But for this purpose, I'm just going to cut it raw, sit it in there, and I'm not even going to nail it in. So these are 558 mil. Alright, so if you'd watched any of my previous videos, you would have seen that I had to previously rip timber standing in the rain. I am having the luxury that it's wet outside and I can close these doors. Now to top that off, I'm also going to be using the neat stop block that I made. It cost me a total of $2, and I'll be relying upon the old tape measure. Alright, so a bit of a test run to see how these all slot in. It's looking pretty good. So just slide that back like that, and hopefully that does the trick. Now down to the bottom layer. I've got those two shelves in. So what I'm going to do is sit it in place. My next step is to sort out the top here. The router table sits on those cross beams nicely, and it'll give me enough space around the front and the back to put a strip of timber to lock it in place. The other thing that works out nicely is that I've got plenty of room to support the router under the table, which means that if I get a larger router, there's plenty of space down here. I've got the frame in place, I've checked that it's level, and I've got the right amount of height between the two tables. Just going to adjust this back to 600. I've just popped this brace going across the other side, and I'll just check the diagonals, 1235 and 1235. Lower this down so that it is the right height. We've got it back in once again. We've got a big square, a long ruler, and I need my glasses. Cracking along here. So now I'm just going to quickly run around all the edges with the router. Scratch that. I just realised that it's going to be easier to route most of it on the table. Time to route the router table. Well, it's not an unsolved mystery. We know what came first. I thought I had some trim cut, however, it was lying around because it was actually too narrow for this table here. I thought it was extra, it was a mistake. So I'm going to have to get a plank of timber, run it through the thickness and rip it down to 1100. But that's not for tonight or this afternoon. I will come out and make that racket tomorrow. Building this workshop has seen me do a few repetitive things, and that includes staining trim for the table. If you haven't watched my previous episodes on trimming the work table and the workbench behind me, then I recommend you can go watch that to find all about how I struggled combining these two things. But right now we're going to zoom right forward to the finished product. Ta-da! Hey presto, there they are, 2 pieces of stain trim, and now let's install them. All right, I was just about ready to give the router table there a quick light varnish. Thought I was all good to go, and then I got my brush and it's got varnish dried out on it, and my other one has got varnish dried out on it, and my other one has also got it. So I'm put them in there. I at the time didn't have the correct cleaning agent, so I popped them in some petroleum and that evaporated. Now I do have some terps here to try and clean these ones up, but they probably won't work. I was about to leave in dismay when these caught the corner of my eye. So at some point I'd gone off to the cheap shop. I bought a set of 5 brushes for probably $5, and so I'll see you over there for a quick slap of varnish. The router table itself needs a quick freshen up. Now as you can see here, it's out of some kind of particle board, it's gotten wet and it has swollen. Pull them off first. So now that I've got all those components off, put them somewhere safe. Tested the height of the piece required for the tray. It's probably better wood, but I've got some of that lying around. First step is that I'm going to trace where the holes are and the basic size of these straight onto this piece of timber. Here, that's the first one. Second one, so to really uncomplicate things, when I drill these, I'm just going to clamp this in place. All right, so I've just popped these up on these chocks, so when I drill through the board below, I'm not going to drill into the table. I'm just going to screw this in here, then install it in my drill, and hopefully this works. There we go. Number 1. Alright, so I've got the new piece in. I'm just going to put it on 20 and use it as a tester to see how the calibration works. Just lower this down to be 9mm. Now I'm going to fire it up. That's what I wanted to achieve so that I can slide paneling in here. That's awesome. The other thing I want to test is cutting out a recess. Slide this back in. To lift this up, you can see I've routed a recess all the way along there, and I've also been able to route a groove. On top of that, I was able to round off the corners. So all in all, I'd say it's a success. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the Triton Router tabletop get spruced up into its own custom table made completely out of reclaimed timber. As you can see, I put it into action and it works. I'm very happy with that. Very happy how the workbench and the table saw and the router top are all working in conjunction. I've got plenty of bench space to work with, and now I've got functioning tools starting to sprout up out of the workshop. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll get to work on these tool racks. They'll be hanging on the walls.
You made it this far and you like what you see. You want some more, so you give a thumbs up to me. You can't get enough and you're wondering if it's time. Well, subscribe to my channel and listen for that chime.